Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to Moscow. Welcome to an interesting video, which I think you might enjoy. And I want to show you how Russian supermarkets are changing ever so slightly. Let's go. I'm here at a brand new supermarket. It's called Perekrestok Select, a very well-known chain of supermarkets in Russia, in this very beautiful old building. And what I want to show you is how the supermarkets are evolving slowly over time. This particular location here, this is a absolutely brand new supermarket that only opened a few days ago, and this used to be a bank, and this whole corner of the building was a branch of a Russian bank. I'm guessing that Sberbank across the road trumped them a little bit, because they've got an awfully big building and a very large bank right there. However, Perekrestok decided to open in the center of the city, and you don't tend to find many full-line supermarkets in the center of Moscow. A lot of them are more convenience store style shops, so this might be a little bit interesting for everybody. If you're watching this video and wondering who I am, I'm an Australian who lives here in the Moscow region. I live about an hour from here. This is really the center of Moscow. I live out in the suburbs, and I make videos about everyday life. Lots of supermarket tours, lots of shopping center tours, and I thought this might be interesting because I do lots of different supermarket tours of the different chains of stores in Russia, and Perekrestok is very well known. However, they're slightly changing their concept, and I think it might make a good video. If you are interested in where this supermarket is located, if you walk about 10 minutes down the street that way, it's Mayakovskaya metro station, and then if you were to walk around the corner to the left, there would be Novoslobodskaya metro station. Now this is where Russian supermarkets get very interesting. So the actual shop itself is open every day from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. You can also bring your dog in the store as well. You just have to do the height check, similar to the water slides. I will put the map location of where this is in the description. So there is a couple of things to note here, and of course what we want to see is mostly on the left hand side. You can perhaps see it already. There is a cafe in the store. There is a few things to entice us as we walk in. Dubai chocolate. So on the right hand side is a traditional supermarket. It has the register to pay. It has grab and go candy bars right here. And the actual shop is rather big. The whole corner of the building. So all the way down this walkway here, and then it wraps around to the left. So lots of very traditional things. Pretty much anything from a full-line supermarket is available here in the store. The one thing you will see, which is pretty interesting, is these digital signboards, and they're calling it phygital displays. So it's a new buzzword. They do also have a really nice alcohol section as well, and they've even got the digital boards. All the signage is digital as well. They've also got a screen right here where you can look up different wines. One thing I will say is the staff's uniform in here is really cool. More casual. There's a bit of a vibe to the place. Music's playing. And this is where it gets very interesting. By the way, I'm here at 2 p.m. on a Monday. This is a working day in Moscow and in Russia. And most of the people that we'll see in the shop are coming to this cafe part of the supermarket. And Perekrestok is a rather well-known chain store in Russia. They've got about 1,000 locations across the entire Russian Federation. But what they've done is they've introduced this cafe format. So this left-hand side of the store has a coffee shop right here, so you can get coffee for dining in or take away. There is cakes, there is pastries, fresh fruit, sushi in the fridge right here, and then in this back corner. Now I wonder, when this was a bank, was this the manager's office up here? He would have had this nice raised location and view out the window, but there's tables and chairs, you can sit down, you can have something to eat and drink. There's also the healthy part of the supermarket separated away from the main floor of the shop. So all of the healthy options, gluten-free options, also fresh bread. So what's happened is about half of the shop has turned into this coffee shop, cafe, takeaway style supermarket or convenience store. So what you actually got here, you've got a breakdown of different foods. So there is things that you can buy for breakfast, and then you've got stuff for lunch, so things like sandwiches, soups, salads, and then you've got things that effectively you could have for lunch or dinner, and there's main courses. And what you can do is you can purchase it, you can go to the register, there's self-checkouts, and then you can go up to the cafe and sit and eat it right here in the supermarket. And just how nice it feels, this color palette, this new modern supermarket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find something and have something to eat and hopefully enjoy lunch. Of course, I'm always going to get comments that the shop isn't busy, there is nobody buying food, it's too expensive. These are all paid actors. Now I am here literally at lunchtime, so there is people coming and going, and exactly when I want to look at the fridges, everybody's just jumping in front. A lot of people are on their lunch break, so there is a bit of a time crunch for most people. So I want to find something, and I want to do a bit of taste testing. Coming upstairs to have my meal. They've actually got microwaves up here, there is utensils, and I just noticed on the top here they've got some placemats and some pencils. So I guess if somebody brings kids along, they can sit down and actually color in some things. And let's have a look what I've got for lunch. Now I've gone pretty traditional. I've got spaghetti with beef, as it says on the description. And I've got a double ham and cheese sandwich. And then I thought I'd give this dessert a try. And I think it's passion fruit dessert. So let's see how this turns out, shall we? My first question before I start eating the food is, have you had lunch in a supermarket before? Depending on where you live in the world, is this normal that I'm having lunch in a supermarket, or is it just a Moscow thing? Is it just a Russia thing? Now I know slowly in the last few years, different supermarket chains in Russia are implementing this into their business, and they're trying to capture a little bit of a different market. Now based on all the people that are coming and going in this store, you can see all the people that live or work nearby. They're coming in, they're grabbing something to eat, they're grabbing a coffee, and they're going about their day. And of course, people sitting here having something to eat as well on their lunch break, or perhaps going for a walk in Moscow. Being that today is Monday, this is a working day, so I expect to see a lot more people coming in here who are at work or on their break. So let's see. Now I don't often eat desserts, so this is a little bit of a rarity for me. So I'm going to give the spaghetti a try first. So this is pretty cool. You basically just put the meat from one side to the other, and you can mix it up. Now I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm literally using the utensils provided. However, I am a bit of a fan of classic spaghetti bolognese. Now I will say, my sister makes the best spaghetti bolognese. I think in combination with her husband or my brother-in-law, they make a very nice one, and it's hard to beat. However, this is very nice. It's very classic. You know, it's not spicy. It's just a very standard, like a meat sauce. The thing with a lot of the ready food meals that you buy in Russia, there is a homemade feel to the food. It doesn't feel like it's made in a factory or some sort of a bulk production. I will say I'm not very fancy in the way that I eat, so excuse me for, literally just manhandling things. Let's give the sandwich a try. So, double ham and cheese. I think, really, it's just a ham and cheese sandwich. But, yeah. It is exactly what it says on the packet. So all the meals that they're serving here are made at local facilities in the Moscow region or in cities nearby Moscow, and they're brought here daily. I'm sure, being that this is the first few days of the shop being open, they'll slowly learn what's better selling, what's least selling, and change the assortment accordingly. But a ham and cheese sandwich, I mean, what more do you need in life, really? Let's give a little bit of more of this spaghetti a try. Now, the one thing I forgot is a spoon. And because I don't do take twos, I'm going to literally use the same fork. So it's like a passion fruit sponge. I'm not sure how to describe food, really. Passion fruit jelly on the top. Like a cheesecake kind of a style dessert with a bit of sponge at the bottom. That is very nice. Definitely something I couldn't make at home, that's for sure. Sandwiches and spaghetti. Now, I'm not in any way a cook at all, and my wife does most of the cooking here at our place. I have tried to make things, but I'm not the best. I wonder how many people are going to comment that I'm using the same fork for my dessert and my pasta. The other thing too with the pricing, the prices are very reasonable, and their point is basically not to overprice things that people would think twice about buying something. So keeping it reasonably priced, it's not then encouraging people to bring all their food from home to work. It's okay to go to a cafe and buy something and have this as your lunch or your dinner or breakfast, of course. So, yeah, I mean, definitely I'd recommend, if you're in Moscow and you can find a Perekrestok Select, come and give this a try. As I head on out of Perekrestok Select, what I want to do now is I want to take you to another supermarket and show you something quite similar, but different, but the same. And I want to show you again how Russian supermarkets are changing the way we come shopping. And they want to keep us in the store for longer. Of course, have something to eat, take your time, maybe go for a wander around and buy more things. So let's head on over to the second location. So you might notice it's actually the next day now. I'm wearing a different shirt. It's actually beautiful and sunny today, and that's the reason why I decided to come here a day or so later. Now the interesting place I want to show you right here is just behind me, and it's rather well known in Russia for its hypermarkets, but they've actually built a smaller mini version, and we're going to go check it out. The place I want to show you is right in front of us here, and it's actually Globus, the very well-known German-owned hypermarket chain, and they've opened a store called Globus Lavka, and Lavka translates to a small shop or corner shop. There's a few different ways you can translate it, and of course Globus is very well known worldwide, particularly in Europe, and of course there is hypermarkets in Russia. I've done many videos. I have one close to my house. This one actually is walking distance from Tushinskaya metro station. Actually, you can just hear a train going by, it's that close. And the store itself is open from 6 a.m. on weekdays and 7 a.m. on the weekends, and it says on there, no days off, which is quite blunt, and I want to take you for a look inside. Now the way it's set up is more like a cafe or a takeaway shop, I guess you could call it. There is self-serve coffee over here, grab and go sandwiches and drinks, and some of the features in here are rather similar or familiar if you've been to a Globus before. The one thing that they've got in all of their stores is this sign here, which talks about the founder of Globus back in 1828. And then in 2006, they opened their first location in Russia, actually not too far from here. And they've set this up in a supermarket format, but yet it's got this takeaway feel to it. And this is where I want to show you how Russian supermarkets are evolving and changing. What they do have is all of the traditional bread that you can get at any of their hypermarkets, and also at the same prices. Their classic ciabatta loaves and regular bread loaves, French sticks, are all right there. Now, I've walked in here quite literally a few minutes ago, so the ladies might look at me a little bit strange. What the heck is he doing with a camera? So they've actually got the counters here with all of the ready food. So they're well-known pastries, their pizza, and then some of their cakes. They've also got sushi as well, which my wife and I really enjoy buying from the supermarket and taking home. And then they've got the counter right here, and we are going to taste test something off the menu. Also some drinks. And what they've also got on this right-hand side here is the refrigerators with some of the very classic Globus foods. And if you ever go into one of the hypermarkets or you've watched one of my videos, I've shown it quite extensively that they've got actually sit-down cafeterias and the ready food, which you can actually buy and take home, or you can heat and eat it right here in the store. So you've got very classic things, lots of Russian style meals. There's even soups down there, salads. There are some fruits. And then another thing that Globus is well known for is their sausages and meats. And actually, some of the food that you can get here for takeaway, it is really exactly the same products, particularly the sausages, and then these deli hams, I guess you would call them. So it's really interesting how they've replicated some of the best-selling products from Globus in the store. And then even the same colors, the same signage and displays, and they've set it up as a mini Globus store. And all of the things that you'd be used to buying, just on a smaller format, and more a grab and go style shop. So particularly all the more popular things, just general drinks, water, and then even some milk and dairy products. There's some cheese down there, and then just having a look around from a bit of a distance. So there is people coming in and out very quickly while I'm here. There is going to be people still mentioning in the comments there's nobody here. There's no one able to afford a slice of pizza. But this is the middle of the day on a working day in Russia. So most people passing by will be coming to or from the train station, going to or from work or school or university. So the counter right here with the everyday grab and go items. There's even some cookies and snacks right on the counter. And this is what we're interested in, is trying one of the hot dogs, I think. I'm not sure if I want a sandwich, but if you do go to any of the Globus hypermarkets, they're very well known for these, I guess, hamburgers, being that they're German. However, in Russia they call them cutlet, but it's a hamburger patty, essentially. And they've got the example of what they look like. I'm pretty sure these are just the display ones, they're not real, but it is how it is. We've even got some sandwiches, lollipops. There's also some different donuts, and then the coffee station. Essentially, you just make your own coffee. There's the cups, there's the lids and different things, the different teas, and then you can just pay at the register yourself. These are exactly the same ones that you would get in the supermarkets, or if you like, you can come over to the ladies and they'll serve you right there. And then there's this little dine-in part. So you've just got a few basic tables and chairs, nothing too fancy. What do you need? And then a microwave and utensils. So if you want to heat something up, or you don't think it's hot enough, you can do that. And this is the evolution of supermarkets in Russia. Of course, Globus is well known for their hypermarket or large format supermarket, and to decide to branch out into this smaller convenience store style shop is super interesting. And the whole thing is the brand recognition. So where you've been to a Globus before, you know the product, you know what to expect, you know that you're going to get the same level of service, the very nice ladies at the counter, and then the same quality of food as well. I even have my well-known Kit Kat right there. These are actually imported from Germany now, so they're not locally made. This is the local example of the Kit Kat Chunky, which is called Good Mix. Of course, I'm in a German supermarket. I should be able to buy a German Kit Kat. What would you have to eat? Let me know. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of a food tasting or food sampling now. The sun is coming in through the windows of the shop, so there's a little bit of a shadow and shade, but I think we can deal with it how it is. So what I did, I got myself the classic hot dog with onions and tomato sauce, and then I got cake here, which is almost like honey cake, but it's got a caramel topping on it. So it's quite similar to the traditional Medovik cake, but with a little bit of a twist. And then Lavka is the brand right here, and I got the Baikal flavor, which, if you can see on the label right there, it's cola with a hint of pine cone. So I thought I had to get something a little bit different from the standard drink that you can see in the fridge. I mean, I could even buy Coca-Cola from China right there. There is Dr. Pepper from America. But this Chernogolovka is a very famous brand in Russia. So let's give this hot dog a try. Now, I've actually had these before. I know Globus very well. There is actually one of the hypermarkets in the southwest of Moscow where I live, which I have to visit quite often because the train and bus station is at the same place. And it's a good excuse to go in, do some supermarket shopping, and visit their cafeteria and sit down and have something to eat. Nice crusty bread roll, which I like. Actually, lots of the onions on top. It's very delicious. I'm not going to edit, I'm not going to cut things because it's not really necessary. By the way, the hot dog was 99 rubles. The cake was 59 rubles. And then the drink was also 59 rubles. I'm just going to have a little drink of this. So cola with a hint of pine cone. And it's got that little bit of an aroma to it as well, or a bit of a smell, if you want to say that. That pine cone aroma. I really love this. I've always loved this for a lot of years, since I first came to Russia, when I was trying to find Russian drinks to have rather than lean on the traditional Western products. Let's try this cake. So you can see there the different layers. So basically the honey cake is honey with cream filling, like a sponge cake, and it's got the caramel and chocolate sauce on top. Now what I've got to remind myself a lot is I'm in a supermarket by a train station in Russia. However, this new format of store, or this grab and go quick format shop, is something that's slowly becoming a thing in Russia. I mean, will it spread to the entire Russian Federation? That's something else for down the track. And this is actually Globus's second location in Moscow. There is one right in the center of Moscow, very close to the Bolshoi Theater. But I wanted to come to this one because it's got the mini supermarket and the fridges and bread back here. I really wanted to come and feel like I'm still in a Globus, which I think I've definitely done that. One more bite of the hot dog. I know I'm mixing the foods, but it doesn't bother me at all. I think for the price, which is 220 rubles, so about $3 or $4, $3 or so, I think it's excellent to have a hot dog, cake, and a drink. And this is the whole point of this idea that they've come up with, to transfer the supermarket concept to this smaller format and then have it closer to high traffic areas like a train station or on main streets where there is a lot of people passing by, and people will put their trust in coming to a brand that they know. Of course, Globus has been here since 2006, so it's well established. And people know the food already. They walk in, get the same thing that they buy at the supermarket, but just in a convenience store format. And they don't have to wonder who is the chef, who is the cook, how clean is the kitchen, because they've already got high standards that they're keeping, and people appreciate that. So overall, very good meal. Before I head out of the Globus Lavka store, I thought we'd have one more look around, and I just noticed over here the Chinese Coca-Cola. There is Pepsi from Belarus, American Coca-Cola. There's also some Chinese like drinks right there, which is quite interesting. I know Globus so well, and then to come to their small format store. Now, if I wasn't going somewhere else in Moscow, I'd definitely grab some bread to take home, because we're so used to buying the packets of bread rolls right there. So yeah, very nice experience. Okay, let me head on outside of the store and I'll give you my final thoughts. Now, of course, this video, I've visited 2 different supermarkets, and actually 2 of the probably most recognized and most well-known established supermarket chains in Russia, going back to the Perekrestok Select in Moscow. And of course, that had the cafe format, which is what they're wanting to focus on, that one half of the store, and that's where all their turnover will be. And then to come to the Globus Lavka store, it's really interesting to see Globus on a mini scale and seeing so many recognizable things from their hypermarkets. And I'm sure most people go in there because they know Globus so well. This is a very high traffic street here where everybody's coming and going to the train station, which is just a couple of minutes in front of me. We might even hear one going by. It is really interesting how Russian supermarkets are slowly changing their concept and trying to attract a different shopper, a person that's on the go, a person that's just wanting to go in and grab something, perhaps lunch, perhaps some kind of a meal to take home, and not the traditional person that's going to get a shopping basket and wander around for half a day wondering what to buy. And by having so many ready meals and pre-made food, almost our decisions are made for us. We just have to decide what we want. So I really hope this was interesting and a bit of an insight into Russian supermarkets in 2025 and this new kind of direction that they're heading. And also they're trying to adapt to the market a little bit as well. You know, do we all need large format supermarkets? Do we need aisles upon aisles of food? I don't think we do. I think we just need to go in and grab the essentials, pay for it, head on out, and go about our day. Exactly what I'm doing today. Thanks, everybody. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Post a comment. Let me know if you like this style of shop and this format. And do you like me doing food tasting in the videos as well? Again, the videos do run a little bit longer, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, as long as you enjoy it at the same time. If you want to join me on my Telegram channel, the link is just here. You can click that. And then if you want to see another video, something perhaps similar or different, let's see what comes up. You can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.